Forage Facts, brought to you by DeltAg.
We have people call us all the time at DeltAg that, they see our commercials and they see the Forage Facts on the Management Advantage. They'll call and they'll ask me, what seed do I need to plant in my food plot? And I think it's, that is definitely not my area of expertise. I'd rather say you figure out what you need to grow and let us help you to know how to grow it. But the thing people do need to understand is that there are some varieties of plants that like to be high and dry. There are others that like to keep their feet wet, meaning they like being in a damp soil. Some things grow better in a sandy soil than in a clay soil. For example, we have found here that our chufa for our turkeys really does well in our sandier soils, and our sandier soils are even though they're sandy, they tend to stay damp, and we tend to get water wicking up, so our chufa does real good there. Where our clovers, there's no doubt that our clovers really like an area that by my standards ought to be 40 to 60% shaded during the day and sort of semi-damp, not high and dry. You put a clover on a high, dry, hot knoll up on top of a hill, and the odds are it's going to last 2 months.
Like Johnny said, it's kind of hard for he or I or any other consultant when you call on the phone and say, what seed do I plant? Without us looking at the texture of the soil, knowing what practices you've done, knowing the climate of your area, it's kind of hard to do that. The biggest things that you want to concentrate on, if you've got a low spot that holds moisture, kind of in the shade, and you want to plant a perennial plot, that's where you go with your ladino type clovers. Sandier spots, alfalfa works really well in the north because it's deep rooted. Chicory works really well in those sandier, more well-drained spots because it's got a deeper tap root. You get to the south, alfalfa may be a little hot for it. Again, if you can find some sandier spots in the shade, mix some chicory in with it, and you're in good shape. The biggest thing when it comes to seed selection is look at your site, look at the soil type, your pH. That is what is going to determine more than anything else what type of seeds you plant.
My point there would be you probably need to talk to your local expert or talk to the extension agent or talk to some of these wildlife seed companies and say, hey, I'm so-and-so, I live in Michigan and I've got a deep loamy sand on a creek bed, what can I plant? Or I've got a high, dry, red clay that compacts like crazy, what can I plant? It's important to note the choice for your food plot, what kind of seed is critical to the end result.